Living organisms change as the abiotic and biotic components in their environment change.
The process that makes change in living things possible is called natural selection. In natural selection, the best adapted members of a species will survive and reproduce.
One example of natural selection is the Galapagos finch. Different beak sizes and shapes are adapted for different food sources.
Ecosystems are continually changing. Ecological succession refers to changes that take place over time in the types of organisms that live in an area. The two types are primary succession and secondary succession. Primary succession occurs in an area where no soil exists. Here is an example of primary succession for the temperate deciduous forest. It starts off as lichens, and then over a duration of 300 years, it becomes into a mature community.
Secondary succession is the reintroduction of life into after a disturbance to an area that already has soil and has had living organisms. Here is an example of a boreal forest that after a forest fire. This was after the forest fire, and this is the forest over time after the forest fire. And you can see grass growing. Floods.
Results in soil pollution and erosion. Tsunamis.
They are huge waves that carry away or destroy plants and animals. They disrupt habitats and food webs. Drought.
Can destroy habitats when water becomes scarce and plants and animals die. It can result in crop failures and livestock deaths. Insect infestations.
Results in reduction of plants and trees and some habitat loss. Environmental Minute. I'm Miss Boss. Today I have with me Miss Bieber from UBC, an environmentalist. Today she will discuss with us the influence of humans on ecosystems.
Hello, Miss Boss.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello, guys. Today I will be talking to you about sustainability.
Why don't you start off by telling us what sustainability means?
Sure thing. Alright, sustainability is the ability of an ecosystem to sustain ecological processes and maintain biodiversity over time, and also using natural resources in a way that maintains ecosystem health for now and for future generations.
Ah, yes, okay. How do humans affect these ecosystems?
Well, humans affect these ecosystems through land use and resource use.
Is land use the ways we use land, like urban development, agriculture, industry, mining, and forestry, and resource use is the way in which we obtain these uses through naturally occurring materials like soil, wood, water, gas, oil, and minerals? Am I right?
That's exactly right.
Oh, I did my research.
Yes, I could see.
What are some land use effects and ways to do them in a better way by sustaining them?
Well, here are some land use effects common in the world: urbanization, clear-cutting forests, and agricultural activities. Here are some ways that they can be sustained: by having waste treatment, stormwater collection, native plantings, and other green areas to support native species. Also, some forest companies use forest management practices that allow more trees to remain uncut and include steam restoration. And of course, grassland management plans that have been developed to protect the health and functions of natural grasslands and provide productive grazeland lands.
Wow! Now I know why you're such a well-known environmentalist.
Thank you.
Oh, I just remembered. Didn't you bring something special?
Yes. I bought something to demonstrate to all the viewers. Here it is.
The Eurasian milfoil?
That's right, the Eurasian milfoil.
Wow! Where'd you get it from?
I got it from the Okanagan Lake. It has disturbed and contaminated waters. It forms mats and lakes, cutting sunlight off. Can you believe it?
No, I can't. That's so bad.
I know.
An invasive species like that? Whoa.
Yes, it's really common in Okanagan Lake. That's where I am from.
I understand. Well, thank you for thank you for having us today, Miss Bieber.
Oh, my pleasure. See you next time.
See you next time as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And now we have Miss Styles on location at Memorial Park, Vancouver, BC. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Miss Beaver. Hello, folks. I'm standing at Memorial Park, Vancouver, BC, which used to be a forest ecosystem full of biodiversity, but now it has turned into a recreational area for humans. It has turned into a park due to urban development and deforestation. This has led to habitat loss. With me, I have Miss Herbert, an environmentalist, and who has witnessed the destruction of this park with her very own eyes. What would you like to say about this issue?
Well, I would like to say, although this is a good recreational area, I feel really disheartened to see all this destroyed. I remember growing up here as a child and seeing all the animals living happily in their habitats, but now all there that are left are ducks and
Habitat loss is the destruction of habitats which usually results from human activities. This is an area where a habitat is being destroyed through construction, resulting in habitat loss.
Habitat fragmentation is the division of habitats into smaller isolated fragments. These isolated pockets of ecosystems affect plant pollination, seed dispersal, wildlife movement, and plant and animal reproduction. Road construction often results in habitat fragmentation. Deforestation is the clearing or logging of forests without replanting. An example of this is here, clear cutting.
Soil degradation occurs when water and wind erosion remove topsoil from bare land. Soil compaction is the squeezing together of soil particles so that the air spaces between them are reduced. The biggest contributors are farm vehicles and grazing animals. Runoff can add excess nitrogen and pollutants such as pesticides to the environment. Aeration is one method used to reduce runoff by mechanically removing small plugs of soil to improve air and water flow through the soil. Aeration is the introduction of chemicals, toxins, wastes, or microorganisms into the environment in concentrations that are harmful to living things. Here is an example of contamination, where chemical waste from factories is destroying freshwater ecosystems.
overexploitation is the use or extraction of a resource until it is depleted. A big example of this is our overfishing and depletion of fish stocks.
Extinction is the dying out of a species. A species becomes extinct when their numbers are reduced to zero. An example of extinction is the passenger pigeon, which was brought to extinction by North American settlers who hunted it down for food to the point of extinction.
Traditional ecological knowledge in Aboriginal cultures helps the understanding of plants, animals, and natural occurrences in forest environment. Native species are organisms that naturally inhabit an area. Introduced species are organisms that are transported intentionally or by accident into regions in which they did not exist previously. Most introduced species are harmless or beneficial in their new environment, such as a loosestrief-eating beetle. But some, such as the purple loosestrief, are invasive species. Invasive species are organisms that can take over the habitat of native species or invade their bodies. Scientists believe this rapid spread of introduced invasive species is a major cause of global biodiversity loss. Introduced invasive species compete against native species for essential resources such as food and habitat. An example is the carpet burrweed, which competes with 4 rare native plants for habitat. Introduced predators can have more impact on a prey population than native predators, as prey may not have adaptations to escape or fight them. Yellow crazy ants have
devastate the population of red crabs, and devour all plants and also prey on the young of reptiles, birds, and mammals. An invasion of parasites or disease-causing viruses and bacteria can weaken the immune responses of an ecosystem's native plants and animals. An example is the sea lamprey, which has affected the fish in the environment. Lampreys suck the body fluids from their prey. Another example is the whitebark pine, which has become vulnerable to insect infestations. Introduced invasive species can make a natural habitat unsuitable for native species by changing its structure or composition. Wild boars are one of the world's worst invasive species, damaging the environment by rooting, wallowing, and spreading weeds that interfere with natural succession. The Eurasian milfoil, the Norway rat, the American bullfrog, and the European starling.
If I was your boyfriend, I'd never let you go. I could take you places you ain't never been before. Baby, take